Thomas Cox.
All the answers right here. And I bet where I was from. That's this.
All right, so we had a long discussion. I could have easily gone for another 30 minutes or more, and we thought we would take your beautiful question approach and sort of articulate the landscape of what was discussed. I'll keep advocacy to an absolute minimum. One nice way to start might be to point out that the pressure may not be as high as it seems, because our job may be to articulate and present the issues in sort of a deconflicted way to the community to vote. The decision will be made by them, so that's important to keep in mind when it seems like the pressure is too high. So what do we talk about? Well, the principles, full-scale arbitration versus just a very limited service. Are we giving, should the Constitution be guidelines, or should it be like, very measurable, concrete things that are as objective as possible? Our resident legal expert pointed out that even if it is just limited to the intent of the code, that still leaves plenty of room for disputes. That is no small thing to interpret intent. The previous ECAF group did part of our job for us, and they said there's no question that the Constitution is in play. We did have some questions about whether the Constitution is in play. Maybe we could leave that for comments at the end. There's a category of problems that are one-sided. So we toyed with this idea that you buy into an agreement. If we are reducing the scope of governance, it could be like, every agreement can have terms, but there's this category of one-sided problems, like somebody posting compromising pictures of you. Okay, there was no agreement between the two parties, and yet that could be harmful behavior. Perjury, like the Crypto Lions 2 nonsense that's underway, or vote buying. These are all one-sided things with no sort of agreement between the two parties. All right. Launch Constitution was criticized for lacking definitions, including members, juridical persons. I will do a little bit of advocacy here and say that I personally like the idea, and surprisingly got vast majority of support in our group, of reducing to something extremely concrete and well-defined like Constitution 2.0, and then expansions of that power happen referendum by referendum. So start with minimum and very precisely defined, and step by step expand those powers. The questions we discussed there are, should we have a rule for the referendums that there are no attachments, so it's only issue by issue? And if we have such a rule, does that create this sort of chaos problem where you could have conflicting, two conflicting referendums at the same time? And we discussed some general referendum problems of prioritizing, translating, deconflicting, stuff like that. Long discussion about jurisdictions and off-chain business. But because, those kind of things probably have two parties, they can specify their agreement, and it is probably about as binding as the terms of service that you sign anywhere else. So I think that infrastructure already exists, though there was a lot of discussion about that. Anyone else from my group think I missed anything?
I want to add here.
Yes, I want to add about the importance of informing society and the translation society, because, for example, initial constitution will be written in English, but somebody, for example, me, will translate it in Ukrainian. And somehow I mistranslated. Who will be responsible for customer who will read this in Ukrainian to do it? And another case is to inform society. So how we inform majority that they take action on the new constitution will include?
The media branch of the Constitution. All right. Does anybody want to repeat the arguments that the Constitution may not be in effect? Because frankly, I didn't get them, but I heard them. We're much braver in our little group, are we?
it just depends on what you mean. You know, this is a lawyer's answer. It depends on what you mean of the Constitution being in effect, because in every jurisdiction there are ways to bind people to contract, and since the Constitution is a contract, it's very hard to exactly know in which jurisdiction someone that signed up for years is bound to the Constitution or not. So the question is not really, is the Constitution there, because it definitely is right now, but is it binding upon the EOS members? That's the question.
That's a pretty
Which
lawyer.
I cannot answer.
That's a very lawyer answer. Like I got nothing. I have more information.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes, but now you owe him $125.
How do we act on that?
Reminds me of a joke, which I'll tell you at dinner. Anything else on the report out? Tremendous work by the Constitution Group. Thank you, Group 7.